Good morning and welcome to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. We are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the powerful liberation principle. First to the Republican and then to the socialist. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so glad to be with you this morning. Yes, it is morning. It is 7 a.m. on the East Coast. Actually, it's about 7:07 at this particular juncture. But we're doing something very big today. This is a very special episode, and I'm glad that you are here with me. We're doing a very special tribute today. Alan Inman will be with us. Robert Wallace will be with us. Richard Finley. And who are they? They are Black Republican Trailblazers that will be joining us to talk about the great honor they will receive this weekend. And in addition to that, their life, their legend, and their legacy. So I'm very, very excited today about this opportunity. So glad to have you with us as well. Had a very big show last night. Very glad that some of you all were here and coming back to receive this weekend. Okay. And in addition to that, there we go. All right. Thank you very much. I want to thank Deborah, who's in the chat room this morning. I tell you, it's something different about morning. I don't know how Shannon and Mike do it, but they do it so well on our network. You're listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network live out of Washington, D.C. I know you normally listen via Baltimore, but today, a very special show. Alan Inman, Robert Wallace, Richard Finley, all of them will be receiving honors this weekend at the Black Republican Trailblazers Awards weekend. And I'm ecstatic. I will look forward to meeting them and talking with them personally, not just today, but as well tomorrow for the event. I'm going to make announcements later on in the program of all of the individuals who were victorious and have signed up through TECN. We were giving away tickets, ladies and gentlemen. And you all know that we started out on Tuesday of this week. We exhausted our tickets yesterday, the last ticket being picked up. And it's amazing the number of people that we're expecting for this particular event, despite all the hostilities that individuals have been going through to put this on. We are very honored and very proud to be a very big part of it as well. So without further ado, you know how we get this party started. I'm going to be calling Alan Inman in just a few. We take off our lovely hats, of course, and we pick up this little mighty, it's not a little bit, plaque right here. We lift it up. And for those who are watching via live stream, you got the big flag here. Ustream, we have the smaller flag here. For those who are picking us on Liberty Channel at 2 a.m., you'll be listening to us. And for those who will be listening to us via SHR Media and HP Talk Radio, thank you all so much for joining us live this particular morning. Kids, let's put our hands over our heart and let's take it away.
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Woo! There you go. That's how you get the party started early in the morning, people. And let us immediately go to getting in contact with Alan Inman. What an extreme honor it is to have this conversation with him this morning. Okay. Yep, we're set.
Good morning.
Good morning. You are live on the Exceptional Conservative Show. I'm Ken McClinton. So glad to have you with us this day, Mr. Alan Inman.
Well, good morning, Ken. Hope all is well on your...
Exactly. Everything is absolutely
Hello?
well. Yes, sir. Are we together here? Awesome. Yeah, you're live. Excellent. Okay. Terrific.
Well, very good.
I am so pleased this particular day to have the opportunity of speaking with you because you are one of the notables, as you are founder and president of Global Peace Foundation. You have been honored by the great Raynard Jackson as a Black Republican trailblazer. I want to find out from you first and foremost, when did you receive notice of this great honor?
Oh, I guess it was approximately ago now
Mm-hmm.
that I did receive that. I had been told that I was nominated maybe 2 months ago, and then it was I was able to finalize it with Raynard about 6 weeks ago now, approximately.
Wow. Wow. Well, the first thing everyone needs to know about Alan Inman is that he is quite worthy of the honor. He's the president of Global Peace Foundation out of Washington, D.C. And throughout his career, he's been dedicated to family and community strengthening initiatives and representing the highest values of integrity and fiscal responsibility in public life. His dedication to these efforts was exemplified when serving as national director for the Institute for Responsible Fatherhood, where he led the development of an additional 8 locations throughout the United States. He is also the author of the book The Colors of Love, which he developed as an educational insight on the family. The Global Peace Foundation. Mr. Inman, exactly what is that, and what is your vision for it?
Well, first of all, I explained to the audience that I'm actually the president of the USA chapter. I need to clarify that
Okay.
in case the president of the Global Peace International Organization is listening. And he won't think that I'm trying to take his job from him on this call.
We want to clear. Okay, we want to make certain everyone understands.
But that quite frankly, a very more than a handful. Imagine with everything going on within the United States. However, the organization itself is a one that is founded on the basis of being an international 501c3 nonprofit organization that uses a values-based approach to peace building. And basically, we operate through 3 essential elements as we do that. One connects with interfaith leadership, working with religious leaders from around the world, from the perspective of cooperation and action. The second is the element of building strong family relations and development throughout each society that we're working in. And the third is building a culture of service. So after you have good cooperation, after you have good family development, the actual expression of those things need to take place by way of service to others. So those are the 3 elements. We operate in 24 countries around the world. And just a note for the audience, our flagship operation every 2 years now is our convention, our international convention. And this time it will take place in Manila, Philippines, starting on the 28th of February.
Wow. We're talking today with the president of the D.C. chapter of the USA chapter in Washington, D.C., the Global Peace Foundation. Of course, Alan Inman, what a wonderful opportunity this is to talk with him about his labors in life, which has drawn the attention of Raynard Jackson and the Black Americans for a Better Future, Continuing the Dream organization. In fact, tomorrow, as well as Sunday, there will be honoring of such stars, such we consider them stars, uh, as Alan Inman, who we're speaking with today. We're also going to be honoring Richard Finley, Robert Wallace, Maxine Blake, who you all heard last week on our radio television program, and Gerald Boyd Sr. Out of Washington, D.C. This is a very significant event uh, to individuals like yourself have been involved in not only the issues of life, but the Republican Party. And as such, I'm honored by your presence today uh, because I stand on your shoulders, like all the others who have come before me. You took or have taken over the past 30, 40 years some of the most bitter vitriol towards you because of your choice to side with Republicans, even within our community. And so I want to first get your reaction to that. Why has there been such disdain of Republicans in our country by, especially those in the Black community? But secondly, what does it mean to be honored after all these years of taking such abuse at times uh, from others as a Black trailblazer?
Well, first of all, as you know, I'm sure through your own direct experience, Ken, the first part of that question that you have put forth there related to let's just say the knocks and scars that many trailblazers that have stood as Black Republicans in this country, certainly ever since the 60s, I would say.
Yeah.
That, of course, has been a position within our Black community that has been tantamount in persona non grata.
Yeah.
You are seen as someone that is either stupid, or you're seen as a turncoat, or you're seen as someone that is just being an Uncle Tom for the white man.
Yeah.
So, in having to that, of course, for many years, it obviously is an experience where, in the midst of what you believe you are fighting, in the midst of a war, where you are battling for advancement of not yourself, but your people, where you believe that you have evaluated the circumstances confronting a people that have an incredible history of struggle, an incredible history of unbelievable odds.
Yeah.
And recognizing that though that battle is raging and ongoing, you're believing that the advancement of your people is not where it needs to be.
Yeah.
And when you begin to analyze why it is the case, and you're looking at certain policies, and you're looking at certain processes that keeps your community and your race stuck in a certain socioeconomic dynamic, then you say, hold it, why is this? And as you analyze it from a business perspective, from a socioeconomic perspective, from even a cultural perspective, you say there must be some things that needs to be done to allow all your people, not just the talented 10th, but all of your people to rise to another level. When you conclude that certain policies have failed and certain political associations are dead ending, then you say, okay, let's take a look at this area that discusses how you put the elements together and build on an economic foundation, on a cultural thrust that allows you to develop. So though you conclude those and you put yourself as a forebearer, as one that will push for that kind of change and that kind of dynamic, then you get blunted by those that say, no, we need to all be a part of what almost ends up being a social club.
Yeah.
In other words, to be a Democrat is almost like a certain kind of fraternity in a way, that we are bonded together as sorrow sisters and frat brothers. And to me, we have missed the mark when we look at politics that way, and therefore we end up having challenges. So yes, you push and you get pushed back, but you realize that we succeed in life is through a process where someone has to take on the challenge of being castigated,
Yeah.
of being put, and so forth. So that's the first half of your question, and I just say that there are some of us that have decided that we had to walk that course.
Exactly, and I'm honored by the fact that you did, because you have taken on the storms of life to make my existence a whole lot easier, and of course, my pursuit of justice in life much more swift than in past lives of others. But in reference to that particular question, you have that unique experience, having been the national director of the Institute for Responsible Fatherhood, to be able to not only witness but to testify of what has happened to our community, our black community, apparently, and actually, it's not even limited to the race in America, to the nation itself in terms of the loss of fathers and its dramatic impact on America, this being a patriarchal republic. And so I want to ask you, sir, from your experience, having been national director for the Institute for Responsible Fatherhood, has there been a change that you know between you being a part of my father's generation in terms of fatherhood versus my generation, or even younger than me?
Wow. Well, when you say change, now of course, in the midst of, let's say, the fatherhood movement, which began with the individual that actually was the founding chairman of the Institute for Fatherhood, Dr. Charles A. Ballard, who has been referred to as the father of the fatherhood movement, having begun his work out in Cleveland, Ohio, several decades back. And then, of course, others that have come on, like Jeff Johnson and just a myriad of others that have come that taken up that mantle.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly from the time that Charles Ballard initiated his program in Cleveland that became one of the 1,000 points of light under the George H.W. Bush Points of Light Recognition Program, we can say that the work connected with fatherhood has definitely advanced. And under George W. Bush, and in fact, before him, I have to acknowledge under President Clinton, there were programs initiated, then carried forward under George W. Bush, and even beyond into the Obama administration.
Mm-hmm.
However, clearly the commitment has not kept pace, in my opinion, under the Obama administration as it was originally envisioned.
Mm-hmm.
Though President Obama spoke loudly about fatherhood, it didn't keep pace with the commitment and the programmatic commitment that I believe it should have, because it drifted into some other areas.
Exactly.
But yes, related to the advancement of the issue, I can point to quite a number of individuals like Ken Braswell today that is at the forefront of that work.
Mm-hmm.
It has gotten notoriety, it has taken advancement, but it has not kept pace with the original programmatic envisioning that this country could with. And I'll just stop right there unless you have other questions.
No, I do have a follow-up question to that, and this is more along the lines of, and we're talking today, I have the great pleasure of talking with Mr. Alan J. Inman, who is the president of Global Peace Foundation USA. He is to be honored this weekend as a Black Republican Trailblazer. I'm going to have a unique pleasure of being able to meet him and greet him and talk with him. And so will all the others who won the opportunity to attend this on behalf of the Exceptional Conservative Network. 30 tickets were given away for this event, and we're very pleased. We will be making announcements later on today in terms of who those winners are. But in terms of follow-up, on a personal level, are you disappointed that so many fathers are missing from America's households? And has that had a dramatic impact on what you do on a daily basis, not just for the U.S., but around the world with the Global Peace Foundation?
Well, absolutely. And when we consider that last night, over 7 out of 10 African American children were born without a father in the home.
Wow.
Last night.
Wow.
When we consider that, then we recognize that as a formula for disaster.
Mm-hmm.
It's an absolute formula for failure. Mm-hmm. To not have a father present in the lives of their children, in the household. And yes, there are many fathers that remotely attempt to support their children financially and otherwise, but to have to grow in a home where you don't see your father's shade, where you don't see how your father takes a moment of reflection, where you're not lifted up out of the bed by the father that holds you and embraces you on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Where you're not taken to the bus stop by the father. On and on and on. That is in the lives of children's development. And therefore, because fathers are models, like mothers are models.
Yes.
However, each one, as we know, have a unique response to model. When we see that element is that active, involved process is missing, then still for your the missing father is still the model. So what we're doing, of course, is repeat. Because I learned from my missing father what being a father is. It means be missing.
Wow.
Okay? So therefore, as I grow and develop, I have that orientation that to be a father is to be missing.
Mm.
So, of course, it's a disastrous situation for our family. And togetherness in a home is critical to the progress of any cultural community, race, and certainly any society.
Wow. We're talking today with Alan J. Inman. We're going to go to a quick break. But when we come back and follow up on that, I want to talk about the hope that we have for this particular nation in the midst of constitutional warfare that we mentioned on our show last night in terms of the Ninth District Court making decisions on immigration. What is the hope for America? What is the hope for the American family? What is the hope that comes with a new administration? One that has been a gentleman who has been recognized by his political opponent as a great father. You're listening today to the Exceptional Conservative Show, a very special Exceptional Conservative Show. Today we're talking with Alan Inman, and in a few, Richard Finley and Robert Wallace will be joining us. What a tremendous opportunity to celebrate so many great leaders in American history who will be recognized this weekend by the Black Americans for a Better Future organization under Raynard Jackson as a Black Republican trailblazer. We will be right back after these messages.
Hi, my name is Willie Lawson of The Willie Lawson Show here on the Exceptional Conservative Network. We have a brand new show on at 9 a.m. Monday through Friday. We are bound to make you think. We are bound to make you see things differently. We are bound to push you into action for not only your community, but your country. That's the Willie Lawson Show on the Exceptional Conservative Network, 9 a.m. Monday through Friday. See you there.
The bloviating Zeppelin. He's big-footed enough radio shows to last a lifetime, courtesy of Sean, Clint, Ken, and Jersey Joe. Now it's time for him to waddle on his own 2 feet via the glorious SHR Media. Gird thy loins for the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. Coming soon to Ossicles near you. Excelsior.
Good morning.
I'm Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Okay, folks, that's not how it goes. I think I'm Shannon, and
I think
you're
so.
Michael.
Yeah.
Okay. We are The Right Way with Shannon and Mike.
Join us from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern Time.
Live on SHR Media.
And on TECN.
Where we'll be talking about all kinds of things.
From sports and politics.
The food and entertainment.
To money.
Family.
And anything else in between.
Community, holidays, all kinds of things.
It'll be great. Join us from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern Time.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
Hi, it's your business diva here, Melanie Collette of Money Talk with Melanie on the Exceptional Conservative Network. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m., we talk all things money on a global, domestic, and household scale that affects you and your wallet. You don't want to miss it.
From the war front to the streets of our nation's capital, men of faith, Dr. Michael Jones, the underground professor, and Kenneth McClinton, the exceptional conservative, bring both constitutional gravitas and spiritual perspective on today's issues to the most influential Christian urban talk show, 9:05 p.m. Eastern, Thursdays. It's a new day on New Day, Black and Red.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to the Exceptional Conservative Show, a very special Exceptional Conservative Show, live from the nation's capital. We certainly are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it's the power of liberation, first to the Republican and then the socialist. We have with us a Republican of great magnitude who will be honored this weekend at the JW Marriott by the Black Americans for a Better Future. Raynard Jackson is the founder and chairman of that organization. He will be recognized as one of 5 at the 5th annual Black Republican Trailblazer Awards luncheon as a trailblazer in its own right. The event takes place. The VIP reception is Saturday, February the 11th at 6 p.m. At the JW Marriott, and at noon on Sunday, the awards luncheon, where we will hear his short retrospect in terms of why he is a trailblazer. I want to follow up with you, Mr. Inman, Alan J. Inman, who is president of Global Peace Foundation, USA. Is there hope? Because I'm listening to us as we talk, and I know my father's disappointed in his era. I mean, we went from a period where 80% of the households were filled with fathers, and there were disciplinarians in the household and structure. And now nearly 80% of households are single parent oriented, where the mother has to take on the role of finding two resources or incomes just to keep pace with taking care of children. And it's difficult to hold standards in such an environment. So is there hope for America in regards to just fatherhood? But then in general, is there hope for America with this new administration?
Well, Ken, if you don't mind, I'm going to exercise a certain license here, not only from a political perspective, but also from what I refer to and others would refer to as a spiritual perspective.
Yes, sir.
I personally believe that that God is involved with human affairs.
Yes.
And therefore, it's no matter how we look at the political process, the business or commerce process, and economic and social and so forth programs, we have to know that we should always be thinking in partnership. That we have to be in partnership with that God on high.
Yes.
Now, that God on high has certain principles that we find in, and I've had the pleasure to examine a number of different types of holy books. Certainly the Bible, certainly the Quran, and others. And I find certain central principles involved. I'm going to take us for a moment to the principle that probably the majority of your listeners would connect with, and that is the story of the talents, where Jesus tells how the master gives the talents to these three different individuals.
Yes.
And 1, 5, 3, 1, 1. And we know that story well, where the one with the 5 invests and doubles and uses his industriousness and so forth, and takes even risk and doubles that.
Yep.
The one with 3 does the same. The one with 1 says, "Oh no, this is I'm not going to risk losing this one. I'm going to stick it and bury it and have it when he returns."
Yep.
And we know the end of that story, that the one that did that with the one got castigated and thrown out of that community. And I know I'm paraphrasing it. I'm not trying to give scriptural letter and of the law text here.
Exactly.
But the story is about industriousness, and there are certain principles that we find that every holy book connects with, related to the behavior, the character of those that would be attempting to progress. And this progress toward a heaven above, it is within this kingdom on the earth. And what we find is that if we are going to genuinely progress, it must be in partnership with that God by way of implementing and embracing the principles that God gives us. Okay. Back to your question. We're in an incredible circumstance. And in fact, our country, and now I'm just going to talk related to our black leadership in the country, that I heard over 8 years complaining about that was in at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Exactly.
That black leadership, by and large, complained that he was not doing enough for the black community, that it was still not advancing, that his policies make a difference and so forth. That was the complaint. I'm sure you did.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, let's just take that alone without going into all the other things that he did or did not do. Look at that related to our black community, then the question is, all right, is that an extraordinary circumstance? The answer, yes. That is what you would consider in a circumstance. Well, guess what God does when he recognizes and is confronted with extraordinary circumstances? He provides extraordinary solutions.
That's right.
Now, there are those that would say, well, hold it. Here is a new guy he's blonde haired, blue eyes, and racist. Well, there are question marks about that. There are question marks. And I'm certainly not going to try to be his apologist or his defender.
Exactly.
But I can say this, based on certain elements that I see him bringing into the forefront of his, it would be what you would call extraordinary, solution oriented.
Exactly.
Extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
God sometimes uses, Ken, a wrecking ball
Yes, he does.
to change what was structured in an improper way. So all I know is this: there's an opportunity here. And by the way, in every time that you have a breakdown, and if we want to call this a breakdown,
Mm-hmm.
I don't, by the way, but if we do, within the breakdown, there's an opportunity for breakthrough.
Amen.
So I'm just going to accentuate this point that let's go back to that principle that I was referring to of the talents. Let us have our 1 talent, our 3 talents, our 5 talents, however many we have. Let us be industrious. Let us not have to look for the master at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue for how we develop those talents. Let's look for that industriousness that is within us that allowed us to break it through slavery, through Jim Crow, through Reconstruction, through civil rights, through all of this incredible history, and have the actual fortitude to survive. And let us recognize that there's certain principles that we need to adhere to and build on so that we can go beyond who's in 1600, who's not in 1600, whether it's a black, whether it's a brown, whether it's a yellow, it doesn't matter. Whether it's male or it does not matter.
Awesome. Alan J. Inman, what an inspiration to close with today. There is hope in America. There is hope not because of the president or the color of one's skin, but the character of a God that we serve. Listen, Mr. Inman, first and foremost, thank you so much for making your time available to us this morning for this very special recognition of the Black Trailblazers, the Black Republican Trailblazers Awards this weekend. How can people stay in contact with you, get your writings, listen to you? As I've had the opportunity of listening to you on several occasions, you are a prolific orator and a great inspiration to men and mankind alike. How can people get in contact with you, sir?
Well, if it's okay, I'll give my email address, which is Inman, my name, INMAN 596 at Gmail.
Awesome.
Inman 596 at gmail.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn, and I have a public Facebook account also under Alan J. Inman. Alan J. Inman.
It is a tremendous honor to have spoken with you this morning. God has awakened me to a great inspiration and a great hope, and I thank you, and I look forward to meeting you tomorrow at the Black Republican Trailblazers Awards weekend event at the JW Marriott. Thank you so much for coming on the air with us today.
I really appreciate this, Ken, and thank you, and let's move forward to make good things happen together.
Amen. I like that. Thank you so much. The great Alan J. Inman. I'm telling you, today I am hooked like a boss. I am so excited about today because what an inspiration the last 10 minutes have been. We experience exactly what the problems are in our community, but we also have solutions. And some of those solutions are divine and others are earthly. They're us. We have a responsibility. It doesn't matter who's at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. We have a responsibility to make certain that our nation succeeds, that our children succeed. And Alan J. Inman, who is president of Global Peace Foundation USA right here in Washington, D.C., my God, what a great honor it has been to talk with him. Ladies and gentlemen, I know some of you all are absolutely shocked. You are talking with the exceptional one, or at least listening to him, on not only Red Nation Rising at 2 a.m. on the Liberty Channel, but you're listening to him in the early morning in Washington, D.C. At, my friends, the SHR Media Live. You're also listening to us via HPTalkRadio.com. I am ecstatic as they're carrying us live. Some of you all are watching us via Ustream, others via live stream. But I have the great opportunity of speaking to the world this morning about 5 individuals who have been, through the aversion of time and the oblivion of space, forgotten, not honored, not remembered for all the great work that they have done. Alan J. Inman, who served as the director, national director for the Institute for Responsible Fatherhood, and also now serves as president of the Global Peace Foundation, USA, here in Washington, D.C., is one of those great men and women in Black Republican history that have been, their names have been obscured by time. And apparently, they don't have the nobility or the influence or affluence that gets one recognized. But this weekend, they will be. And I want to give a shout out to Raynard Jackson for hosting this particular event. But before I do that, I want to thank those individuals who will be in attendance, who are part of the Exceptional Conservative Network. And they are hosts and they're contributors. I will be there. Mrs. Biggs will be there. Deborah Frazier, who is my assistant, will be in attendance. Brandy Bohannon will be there. Melanie Collette, you know her from Money Talk with Melanie. Mike Wright and Shannon Wright, you know them from their morning program that you normally would be listening to right now, The Right Way with Shannon and Mike. They will be in attendance. Lonnie Poindexter and the Reverend Ralph Chittum Sr., who is, those two guys make up the right guys in the other drive time hours of 4 to 6 p.m. on TECN. And also like a daughter to me, Janice Hall, will be in attendance. So those are all of the contributors from our program. But here are the guests who registered to be a part of this. Larry Wood Wardlow, we thank him from Baltimore. Greg Neal, Claudia Cheek, Daryl Graham, Nima Kita Kumako, Perez Abbott, Antonio Merrick, Sue Iman, Eric Jessup, Trequel Butler, Aaron Holmes, Temu Davenport, Katina Pearson, Alexander Scott, and Adrian Doyle. Now, it's not too late. If you want to attend the event, it is not too late. You can get in contact with Raynard Jackson at 202-251-3424. That's 202-251-3424. And I want to thank all of those individuals. We have a very special backdrop that's been ordered for the event. We're going to take photographs with all of our great guests who are part of the TECN family. We're going to try to put those out there on the social media, on Facebook and Twitter. But it is a celebration indeed, because on one side, you will have the Gerald Boyd Sr. and the Maxine Blake, the Alan Inman, the Richard Finley, the Robert Wallace, who we'll be talking with at the 8:10 mark of our program. You have them on one side, and they are handing the baton. And this is one of the major problems with, let's just be real. Sometimes we get so caught up in ourselves that we forget that we have to leave a legacy, that there is a progeny that is remaining, and we must hand the baton to them. We must strengthen them and encourage them and show them the way. Listen, the bumps and the bruises, the pains and the sufferings, the accusations and the aversions towards those 5 Black Republican trailblazers has been felt by almost all of us. So it is good when you have an organization like Black Americans for a Better Future that is willing to go beyond the limitations of almost everything that could make this possible and then make it happen. Now, Raynard Jackson, who is the founder of BAFBF, made this statement. He says, these honorees are truly deserving members of the Republican Party who President Donald J. Trump and our party leadership should not only be highlighting, but seeking their advice and counsel. Additionally, the honorees will be available for media interviews and photo opportunities during the weekend. I will be there covering this on behalf of the Exceptional Conservative Network and the Exceptional Conservative Show. And it's not too late if you wish to attend. Now, I know a lot of people began to pile in after the last ticket was taken, and they were like, Ken, what? I thought we were like that. No, we are like that. But like I told you earlier this week, once my tickets are gone, I don't care how close Raynard Jackson is to me. And so, family or otherwise, you just ain't going to get no more tickets. And so we don't have any more tickets to give. We thank you all so much for participating. We thank those who have signed on early and got their tickets. Those who were listening to the Tuesday night show actually got a day head start. And so they are very appreciative of that. But it's not too late. You can get in contact with Raynard Jackson today at 202-251-3424. That's 202-251-3424. Or just come to the JW Marriott Hotel for the 5th annual Black Republican Trailblazer Awards luncheon. There will be a check-in, of course, because this ain't free, except for those people who got their tickets through TECN. God bless your souls. The VIP reception is set for Saturday, February 11th at 6 p.m., in which there will be a conversation amongst the 5 that we'll be able to listen into and take part in. And also we will be able to, well, I wouldn't use the term carouse, but we'll be able to network together and meet and greet and talk with each other and have a wonderful time. The theme this year is Reimagining the Dream. And as BAFBF strives to recognize and honor a great list of individuals who have truly made a significant contribution to America, the Black community, and the Republican Party, we are just completely besmitten with the great pleasure of having to participate with the reimagining of this dream. What an opportunity. And quite frankly, I look forward to seeing you there. That's the JW Marriott Hotel, 1331 Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest. The VIP reception is Saturday, February 11th, and on Sunday, February 12th at 12 noon is the actual luncheon. We will be right back with none other than Robert Wallace, the CEO of Biff Group Technologies in Baltimore, Maryland.
Hi, it's your business diva here, Melanie Collette of Money Talk with Melanie on the Exceptional Conservative Network. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m., we talk all things money on a global, domestic, and household scale that affects you and your wallet. You don't want to miss it.
Have you heard the news? There's more to Prime than free. 2-day shipping on shoes. There are tons of movies ready to stream. It's like living in a film lover's dream. More to Prime. More to Prime.
I want to join. How much should I pay?
You can sign up for a free trial today. So let's say it one more time. There's more to Prime.
With home values up and interest rates near all-time lows, you probably know that now is a great time to refinance, like the Johnsons, who saved $436 a month.
$436 a month?
It's simple. Just go to LendingTree.com, compare loan offers for free, and see how much you could save in just 5 minutes.
Oh, you said the bank gave you the best rate.
Yeah.
Lending Tree. When banks compete, you win.
I have to do everything myself.
Someone is sleeping on the couch tonight.
From the war front to the streets of our nation's capital, men of faith, Dr. Michael Jones, the underground professor, and Kenneth McClinton, the exceptional conservative, bring both constitutional gravitas and spiritual perspective on today's issues to the most influential Christian urban talk show, 9:05 p.m. Eastern, Thursdays. It's a new day on New Day, Black and Red.
Hi, my name is Christopher Arnold. I'm the executive chef of Infused Restaurant, and today I'm gonna walk you through some of the meals that we prepare here. We're making a pizza. We use fresh Italian sausage that we cook here and slice it up. Our pizza dough is in-house made. Our pizza sauce is in-house made. So everything is fresh ingredients. This is our Thai curry chicken. The sauce is made with coconut milk and the Thai red curry. It is juicy chicken thighs as well as some mixed vegetables, served with jasmine rice and pita bread. So now we're going to prepare our famous blackened tilapia and grits, our fish and grits on the menu. Once the fish is ready, then our meal will be complete. Let me tell you about our infused heat burgers. When we kick the spice up just a little bit with our infused sauce. We start off with 80-20 USDA ground chuck ham patty burgers, like half a pound of burgers, and we're gonna grill it to perfection. After I flip the burger, we add the sauce and let it cook on into the meat just a little bit. We're gonna add a little bit of pepper jack cheese to this burger to spice it up a bit.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm letting you know right now, 6339 Allentown Road is the place that you need to be this weekend for brunch, for lunch, for dinner, for sports, for a great time. It is a wonderful atmosphere. Infused Restaurant is that particular place. And you get the exceptional one. Everyone knows, it's the burger that's the size of my head. It's 2 big beef burgers, 8 slices of bacon. It's just a huge thing. But if you're vegan, you can also eat there. They got great food for you as well. Ladies and gentlemen, make Infused Restaurant your place for dining pleasure this weekend. And that's at 6339 Allentown Road, Temple Hills, Maryland. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to know that you are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. We are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation. I want to thank Shannon and Mike for giving me the opportunity to use your space and time on Friday morning to do this very special Trailblazers show. It is the Black Republican Trailblazer Awards weekend, and we have the great opportunity of talking with some of the great honorees this particular weekend. We are connecting right now with Robert Wallace, and what a great joy it is to connect with. Good morning, Mr.
Hello.
Wallace. This is Ken McClinton from the Exceptional Conservative Show. You are live on the air from Washington, D.C. It's a great privilege and honor to have you on the air with us.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Oh, my goodness. First and foremost, I am just enthralled to be in your presence and to know that you're going to be honored tomorrow and also Sunday as a Black Republican Trailblazer at the 5th Annual Black Republican Trailblazer Awards Luncheon in Washington, D.C. at the J.W. Marriott on behalf of the Black Americans for a Better Future. First and foremost, I want to ask you, sir, How important is that award to you in your lifetime, as accomplished as you are?
Well, I think that recognized in general is a good thing. I think we all want to be valued. We all want to have impact on people in our community, and I think that we as African Americans have to be players in every sector of society, in every political party, every economic endeavor. And so I think that to be recognized for our is always a good thing, and I'm very humbled by that.
Well, listen, you are an accomplished engineer, an entrepreneur, an author, business consultant, and keynote speaker as well internationally. There's probably nothing that you haven't done at this particular point of your life in terms of accomplishment, and you probably don't sleep at all. But I want it's true. I mean, if you're going to be this successful, sleep is a luxury. Why pursue this? It would have been just so easy just to be an engineer, punch the clock, and call it a day. Why did you choose entrepreneurialism as a pursuit?
Well, I think that being an entrepreneur to me is more than just making money. Right? Yeah. I mean, you can make money in creating wealth. That is because to the degree that you create wealth, then will to fund and support initiatives worldwide that will have an impact on humanity. In my company, we have a requirement that we contribute a percentage of our profit to humanitarian and mission-oriented work. So we have, by God's grace, we've been able to support building of orphanages in Tanzania, churches in Ghana, water systems in Liberia, churches in Brazil and Southeast Asia. And those things wouldn't be feasible unless we had resources and money to do that. And so I think that being an entrepreneur gives you the opportunity to not only create wealth, which is important, but also to impact humanity and make the lives of people better.
Exactly.
I think that's an exciting thing that we take seriously.
Exactly. And well, that's just, if I could be devil's advocate, which is very difficult for me to do as a conservative, but but you know, you're the talented 10th. You are the guy who's at 1%er. You're doing stuff to take away from the collective body. It's big wigs like you who make it difficult for little wigs to make it at all. And first and foremost, when you realize how much effort you put in 1 hour versus what someone else does in 8 hours to produce what you produce, how does that make you feel personally? And then secondly, is that one of the greatest myths in terms of what we've been hearing over the past maybe 20 years regarding capitalism in our country?
See, I believe that if you and I, if we are in tune with the purpose for which God created us, when you're in tune with that, then I think that you're efficient to get things done is going to be greater than somebody who's not in their purpose. And so what I have been blessed with is it's been made very clear what my purpose is. And so because of that, I can be efficient, I can be focused, I can be intentional because I know why God created me and what I am to do. And one of the greatest honors, I think, is knowing that you are working and living in the purpose that God has created you for. And I've just found, sir, through my travels throughout the world, that men and women who are in their purpose, they are efficient, they are getting things done, they are having impact. And that's where I believe I am and where I want to stay.
Exactly. Now, in due cause for your success, you attended the University of Pennsylvania, the School of Engineering. You got your Bachelor's of Science degree in Mechanical Engineering and Applied Mechanics there. Most people would have stopped at that point and say, "Hey, I got an $80,000 a year job. I'm done." But you went on to get your Master's of Business Administration, and from Dartmouth College, and you worked for IBM, Procter & Gamble, DuPont, Westinghouse. and you created your own companies. And so I want to talk with you first about the work. In our society, most individuals, especially in the black community, are told go to college, get a degree in social work and or communications, and come back into the neighborhood, start a nonprofit, and then you will be helping your nation, your community best. Do you think that is the process that should be happening in urban America? And if not, what's the best way for us to really improve economically in urban America?
I think that for urban America to be economically empowered, we have to be a part of the engines of our society that are growing and that create wealth and that create opportunities. I believe that capitalism can be a good thing if it's properly used. It depends upon who's using it.
Exactly.
And that determines if it's good or bad. But I believe that we have to be a part of technology and engineering and science, which are the real growth engines of not only our society, but the world. I mean, if you look at the companies that have created great wealth in the last 20 years, I mean, they've been primarily technology companies.
Exactly.
And so we, the people, need to be a part of that. We have a major initiative in Baltimore, a STEM initiative, where we're trying to accelerate the growth of African American and minority engineers and scientists, right, from elementary school on through college, because I recognize that's where the opportunity is. And so I am not ashamed to say I'm a capitalist. I believe that there's benefit there. I think that we can, that society can benefit when men and women of goodwill and good conscience can use capitalism to help make humanity better. And that's what we try to do in my company.
Right. You do an exceptional job in terms of that. You had a prolific impact on your particular community. And as the CEO of Bith Group Technologies, Bith Energy Incorporated, and Enter Teach Learning Systems, LLC, you have a multitude of things. I'm just sleepy thinking about what you do on the one job. I mean, you said, oh my God!
Well, you know what? That's probably part of my West Indian heritage, you know, but you got to have 10 jobs, complete.
So I want to broach, in all great joy, I want to broach this particular thing because you are a Black Republican trailblazer this weekend. And we talked about entrepreneurialism, we talked about the tech industry, but we've also had people who are marching in Chicago, marching in Milwaukee, marching in Philadelphia, New York, and Atlanta, and D.C., and they're talking about $15 an hour. And so, of course, McDonald's PR responded, yes, we're going to do $15 an hour for you, but the month later, they came out with the fact that they're going to put a kiosk in every one of their McDonald's, eliminated the cash register role. Can we just be real with America? And nobody's listening but you and me. Can we just be real with America that you can't force people to pay you more than your skill set profits them? Am I right on that?
I think that is true. I think that whole argument is misguided. I mean, I certainly understand people are feeling there's a great deal of economic anxiety.
Yeah.
Of the world, because the world is changing, the economy is changing, and what's happening is that people are not changing fast enough to keep up with the economic and technology change, and that's a problem. That creates a gap. And so I understand the anxiety. I really.
Mm-hmm. Now,
projects. My mom was a janitor. Dad was a laborer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, please.
No. But you have a number of employees. You have a number of employees, who I mean, a tremendous number, who aren't quizzing you about $15 an hour. Their skill set says that I demand more, and you're willing to pay more. And is that
exactly right?
I mean, am I being cold and heartless by saying, that you shouldn't get paid $40 an hour to press the little Big Mac sign on the cash register?
No, you're not. And you make a very good point. I mean, look, it's all about education and skill set, right? So if people can increase their skill set in the right areas, they're worth and what they should be paid. And in my company, we hire a lot of engineers and scientists and technicians. And because of their skills, because of supply and demand, I have to pay them a certain wage to be competitive.
Yeah.
I mean, and those are the forces of the market that determine the value of labor. And so I'm not with that, requirement that you have to pay somebody more than what they're worth.
Exactly. And so what a wonderful opportunity to speak with a great business leader. He's chairman of the board and chief executive officer of a number of entrepreneurial endeavors. We talked this particular day with Robert Wallace, who is a expert in mechanical engineering, energy engineering, telecommunications, operations. He is a great manager of time and profitability, and you see that best in his organization, Bith Group Technologies, Bith Energy, and he's also the founder of Answer Teach Learning Systems. He is a trailblazer in his own right in the world of science and business, but certainly he will be honored this weekend at the fifth annual Black Trailblazers Awards weekend at the JW Marriott downtown. As we're talking with you today, there are people who are in business who are pretty much making decisions based on what is socially or politically correct. And I wanted to ask you in terms of that regard, how do you make your decisions in terms of how you're going to impact your culture that surrounds your business itself?
In my case, before every decision that I have to make, I have prayer. I'm a Christian businessman. I'm not ashamed of that. And I take my decisions in prayer. Every morning I have my devotion, and I'm asking for wisdom. So I know how to deliberate and what decisions to make. I also look at, sir, what will be the impact to society and the people. I can tell you that I have walked away from business opportunities that I felt would be a negative impact on our community and on society. I just want to get involved in deals that will hurt people. And so that's a principle I have that I follow in business. So I have a basic rule is do no harm. Do no harm to society or the people. And so my business is to revolve around services and solutions that lift people up, that help people, that make society and make the quality of life better for many people. And that is the core of who we are and what we do.
Now, it is good to know that that's how you make your business decisions. And I want to talk with you about your energy company, Bith Energy, at this particular moment. You are a part of a actual business environment where oil prices are beginning to increase, where gas prices are relatively low, in terms of natural gas, are relatively low, but we're not doing everything that we can do as a nation to export that technology as well as resource to the rest of the world. And in addition to that, there's a great push for doing artificial or science-related energy at this particular moment, in the terms of solar and electric and things of that particular nature. I want to broach with you first and foremost, how have you seen the changes over the past few years regarding the move towards solar energy and things of that nature, and has that been beneficial to Americans in general?
Well, I think that the growth of solar in particular, and even wind, has been dramatic over the last couple of years. I think to a large degree, President Obama can take some credit for that, because he was the first president since to really put money into energy development and energy research. And when we saw that there's going to be funding that would be available to wind and renewable energy technologies, we jumped right in on that. I did my research at UPenn studying engineering. My area of research back then was in solar energy. So I was prepared technically to leverage that new push into solar. And I can tell you that the cost of solar energy has last 8 years to a point where we've reached parity with reduced power plants, solar power plants that can compete with carbon-based fuels that are used to generate power. So I see a path of renewable energy that is irreversible. I don't think that even policies of our new president will change that vector. I think we, as a global community, have made a commitment to reducing our carbon footprint, and the tools to do that are non-carbon-based fuels like solar.
Now, is it?
I think there's a long history for that.
Exactly, but is it sustainability? I know that everybody uses that term, sustainable energy, and you know that's a new sexy term everyone wants to use. But is it sustainable without large intervention from government support mechanisms?
That's a great question, and I believe that it is.
Okay.
But I would also remind people, sir, that the oil and gas industry is highly subsidized. So we as a nation have made a decision, which is a good one, going to support our energy initiatives that are necessary to build the economy industry. And I think that government, to some degree, or tax incentives are very important. But I will tell you that renewable energy has come a long way. And I believe that even without the tax credits, I believe that those industries will still grow and still prosper.
And see, that's the key thing that people want to know. Is they want to know that there is something beyond the chit that's put in by the taxpayer, that this is going to be successful long term. But I also want to go in terms of that kid who's listening right now in their mother's car to you on the air, and they're thinking, I'm going to make it in the NBA. What is the type of salary, or the type of income that people can make in the energy industry, and what gets that particular kid from that particular dream of NBA sovereignty to the point where they are a great leader in the world of energy?
Well, a key term that you used was dream. And I believe that every person has to have a dream to be fulfilled in life and to be successful. And so if you have a young man or woman who is skilled I say, God bless you, go forward. But recognize that most of them will not make it to the NBA or the NFL, for that matter. And so you need to have a dual strategy. And the other strategy is, maximizing your intellect and your education to benefit from the opportunities, technology, and math and science. I know in our industry, in the energy sector, we've got people with high school educations that we're paying $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year with a high school education. Now, they have been trained in the solar field or the wind field, but they have a high school education. Up to people making, six-figure income who have more advanced degrees. So the opportunity to earn in this field is tremendous. And I recommend a person that they really focus on technology and science and mathematics in their education and benefit from this emerging trend.
But Mr. Wallace, math is so hard. Is there an easier way? Can we just get along without math? Can you tell that child who's in that car right now? And I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to be derogatory. I'm just saying what you got to do to be successful. What did you have to do to be a success in the field of engineering? And did math and science become a big part of that?
Well, let me start first with the parents, because to your point, so to prepare our kids to really be competitive in this space, we have to start them young. My wife and I, we have 5 kids. We have 4 boys and 1 girl.
Wow.
3.5 engineers of those 5. I can tell you what we did. We had to expose them to math and science at a very young age, right? So they were very comfortable with numbers and with science and physics, right? You have to expose them to that at a young age. And what I have found is this, that if you expose them at a young age, then they're not intimidated by math and science. Because our kids are not exposed until later in life, and then they get thrown into it, and then it's too hard, it's too difficult. But if you build the base with these children, then as they grow, then they will benefit from that training and be very competitive. When I was in school at UK engineering, the most brilliant engineers in my class were from Africa.
Yes.
They were from Mozambique. They were from Ghana. They were from Tanzania. And I mean, these were brilliant men and women who were scientists and leaders in their field. And so I know that with the right foundation, that our kids can compete in science and mathematics.
We are talking today, and this is a tremendous honor. Robert Wallace is with us. I mean, I don't think he actually sleeps anymore. He is the president, CEO, and founder of Bith Group Technologies Incorporated, CEO, founder of Bith Energy, founder of Entre Teach Learning Systems, LLC. He is an affiliate professor of business at Loyola University. He's written 8 books, if he's not writing one now. You are quite a successful entrepreneur and a tremendous trailblazer in our society. I want to broach with you Entre Teach Learning Systems quickly, and then we're going to have to go to a break, and then I want to come back and ask you a few other closing questions. But what exactly propelled you to do Entre Teach Learning Systems? Why is that so valuable to not only the Baltimore community, but valuable to the American fabric?
Absolutely. When I was in grad school studying in business for my MBA at Dartmouth, what I realized, what I saw, was that people of color and women were not participating in the economic opportunities in the house.
Yeah.
And I asked the question, why? Why is that? And one of the answers I came back with is that we just are not exposed and educated in that area. So what I decided to do in 1981-82 was to do some research to look at successful minority and women entrepreneurs and to study their habits and to study what they did to be successful. And once I did that and found that information, I then put it into books first. And then secondly, I put it into Entre Teach Learning Systems, where I could take that content and that and share that to the world. And the best way to do that is through the internet and through either technologies. And so the idea was that if I can share this information, there'll be more of us who will be participating in the economy and making a difference.
Listen, we are talking today with a great pioneer. I'm honored, and forgive me for being so virtually transparent of my great joy of talking with Robert Wallace today. Over 30 years of expertise in mechanical engineering, energy engineering, entrepreneurialism. He's an author, he's a keynote speaker, and a great man of God. When we come back, I want to talk with this trailblazer about the future of the American entrepreneur, especially in urban America, and how his organization, his company, will be leading others in terms of redeveloping development, or at least the economies of urban cities. You're listening to the Exceptional Conservative Show on the Exceptional Conservative Network. We will be right back right after these messages.
So what do you think about ebooks? Maybe you've never read an ebook before, but you're considering giving it a try. Or maybe you've been reluctant to try ebooks because you don't want to buy another expensive electronic device. Or maybe you already enjoy ebooks, but you haven't been able to find titles from your favorite Christian authors. Whatever your situation, ChristianBook.com has the solution. Your trusted source for print books for over 30 years now offers ebooks. Our always free CBD reader allows you to read on the devices you already own without spending money on a new device. Thousands of Christian ebooks at ChristianBook.com means you can shop with confidence and choose from the titles you want. Plus, we are adding new titles all the time. Browse our huge selection of low-priced Christian ebooks the same way you would printed books, only now you can go from shopping to reading in seconds. Simply select the ebook you wish to purchase, confirm your account information, and start reading. Free samples of every ebook are available, so you can preview the book first before you buy it. Plus, there's no lengthy app downloads and updates. Accessing the CBD Reader is as easy as going to cbdreader.christianbook.com and bookmarking the page. The CBD Reader holds your ebooks and bookmarks for you, no matter what device you're on. So, you can take your entire ebook library wherever you go and pick up right where you left off. Our customizable options make it possible to read your ebooks in different font sizes and styles. Want a large print version? You've got it in seconds with a simple click of the mouse. Already own a dedicated e-reader? Download your ebooks to your computer from your christianbook.com account and transfer them to your device. Try ebooks at christianbook.com and start reading your favorite books in seconds. Easy, economical, everywhere you want to read. Welcome to christianbook.com ebooks.
Now, Brownells, we know you may have only one shot to harvest that trophy, so we have thousands of accessories and replacement parts to improve your chances. We know how much you love to shoot, so our gunsmiths articles and videos will help you do more and get more out of your guns. We also value your hard work and money. That's why only Brownells backs up everything we sell with a 100% unconditional lifetime guarantee. Brownells, the world's largest supplier of firearm accessories and gunsmithing tools.
Is your PC causing major headaches? Now there's an easy way to make your computer run like new again. Introducing System Mechanic, America's #1 PC performance software. System Mechanic scans your entire PC for over 200 different types of errors. It then automatically fixes even the most stubborn and frustrating PC problems, restoring full speed and stability in minutes. Visit runlikenew.com to try it free.
Good morning.
I'm Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Okay, folks, that's not how it goes. I think I'm Shannon and
I think
you're
so.
Michael.
Yeah.
Okay. We are The Right Way with Shannon and Mike.
Join us from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern Time.
Live on SHR Media.
And on TECN.
Where we'll be talking about all kinds of things.
From sports and politics.
The food and entertainment.
To money.
Family.
And anything else in between.
Community, holidays, all kinds of things.
It'll be great. Join us from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern Time.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to the Exceptional Conservative Show on the Exceptional Conservative Network. We have the great honor of speaking with Robert Wallace, who is being honored this weekend by the Black Americans for a Better Future at the JW Marriott this weekend. And he will be receiving a Trailblazer Award. Yes, one of the Black Republican Trailblazer Awards to be given out at the 5th annual event. Wonderful conversation, Mr. Wallace, and I'm going to want you to come back on our network to talk about business and other particular things. But there are those who are in the community that believe that you could basically just start up a company with a good $50, $100 or whatever, and there is no other capital requirement. There is a great need for capital in urban America. How is it that you are successful when others fall short in those particular realms?
Well, I think that you're right. I mean, capital is critical to long-term success, and one of the reasons that too many of our firms fail is because of lack of capital. So no question that is an issue. But I think if we learn to be long-term, what I call long-term greedy versus short-term greedy, right?
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is if we learn to go out, right? So saving our money, not buying expensive car or house or those kinds of things, but really focus on saving the money that you have. Secondly, building relationships. What I have found is when you build relationships with good, decent people, then when you come to them with an idea for a business, those people are willing to invest in you.
Exactly.
And so we were able to, number one, be prudent and be frugal in the saving of our money, my wife and I. And then having relationships where we could go to people who have good ideas who were willing to help finances.
Well, I want to ask you this. I don't know if you ever get to ask this question or whatever, but I'm going to pose it to you. Is every idea a good idea for business? I just And how do you tell people that this is just not the thing to do?
Now, every idea is not a good idea. But what I would tell you this though, it is a numbers game. So the more ideas you have, the greater probability that you're going to find one that's going to be a good one. And so I think, if you look at successful people, all gone through a number of bad ideas before they came to a good idea. Yeah. And so I think that's just part of the process. And that should not intimidate people from taking a chance.
But you're talking about risk taking here. And we've been told over the past 70 some odd years that the objective is not to take risk. In fact, it's to be secure in everything that you decide on. As long as you're secure, you're going to be okay. Is there something special, some genetics, something, do you drink something in the morning that makes you different from everybody else in terms of being willing to take risks? And I know a lot of people are listening as they're driving and they're saying to themselves, wait a minute, that doesn't sound like a very serious question, but it really is. Are you adverse to risk taking? Or can you be adverse to risk taking if you're in the idea of being an entrepreneur?
I think that entrepreneurs take prudent risk. They don't take foolish risk. I think the other piece here that's really important to get across is that if you want to be successful in a particular area, you've got to be around other people who are successful in that area.
Bingo.
What helped me was when I went to school, I went to parents who were very wealthy, very powerful, and so how power looks, how wealth looks, how business looks. And when I close, I said, you know what, I can do this. These guys are no smarter than I am. Mm-hmm. So when I got that kind of paradigm shift, when I had that paradigm shift, that aha moment, I said, you know what, if these guys can do it, I can do it.
Yes.
But if I had not been exposed to people like that, I would have thought, well, this is impossible, I can't do it. So it's key to be exposed to success. It's very important.
You talk about exposed to success, and you have served on the boards of Credit Suisse Bank and as well Workforce Investment Board. So those are two different boards altogether, two different minds, different paradigms to think of. But I want to ask you, how important are both of those in terms of developing an economy in urban America that seems to be non-existent outside of certain groups, certain neighborhoods, certain other downtown alliances?
I think that it's critical to build alliances and partnerships between the economy in the inner city and the urban centers and the economy in the rural area. I think that some people have put forth this idea that the interests of Americans in the rural area are totally different from those of people in the urban centers. And I disagree. I think they're very similar. So what we have to do is to build bridges between the urban centers and the rural centers and build economies where both can benefit. I believe that, the numbers show that the urban centers around the world will be where most people will be living. And so those of us who can develop economic ecosystems in the urban centers, those ecosystems, then we will be able to benefit from the industries and the needs that will arise from the urban centers.
Now,
our company is based right downtown in Baltimore City because of that reason.
Mm-hmm. Now you're downtown Baltimore, but a lot of people would say, wait a minute, you're down there, you're not in my neighborhood, so how appreciably effective can you be? I mean, don't we need some type of job placement in one particular sect of the city? And if we do that, then life would be better. And they can stay uptown and I can stay downtown. Is that cohesive in terms of a strategy for economic development?
I'm not sure. I mean, I have found that success in business is pretty basic. So if you take those places in the cities that are in tough neighborhoods, then what becomes critical is how can we change that environment such that entrepreneurs businesses and capital will be attracted to those neighborhoods. Because if I got to go in and I got to fight, I got to fight drug dealers and fight folks breaking into my cars and the safety of my employees, I want to think twice about that.
Thank you.
But if we can take the environment such that capital was attracted to those, then I think we've got something. And so when I go and talk to community leaders, I focus on how can we change the environment here such that entrepreneurs and capital and business will be attracted to come to that neighborhood. And I've seen cases where that's been done.
Yeah, no, but isn't
relationship between I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Wallace. Forgive me, but isn't that gentrification? Well, I'm going to use the term that they always use. Isn't that gentrification you changing the neighborhood? Why can't you change to be a part of the neighborhood? And this is what they always ask.
Well, I think there are examples where that's been done.
Yeah.
So I think that the people in them need some help. They need guidance. And I think that guys like you and I can help do that.
Yeah.
And so we bring ideas, we bring capital, we bring possibilities to those neighborhoods and give people hope. I think instill hope in people and they can dream again, then I think they can see what the neighborhood can become. And that's why there has to be a connection between guys like us and
exactly
in the neighborhood.
Mr. Wallace, it's been a great pleasure having you. I could ask you questions all day, as you could tell. I would sit right at your feet and begin scribing as I go along. But you have 2 books that are upcoming, and I really want you to come back and talk about those when you do release them. One is The Color of a Billion: Women and Minorities Who Are Building Billion-Dollar Enterprises, and the latter is Crash: Business Lessons from the Emerging World. I want to focus just real quick, since you are receiving the Black Republican Trailblazers Award, the whole idea that women and minorities are building billion-dollar enterprises. When I turn on BET, I don't hear that. When I turn on ABC or for Scandal, I don't hear this. So why am I not hearing this? And how important it is for me to hear that there are billion-dollar ideas coming out of the inner city or out of minorities and women?
Well, I think that for a long time, entrepreneurs have not, in our community, have not been recognized. We're kind of the invisible force, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that through programs like yours and what Raina Jackson is doing, I think that we can refocus our efforts and look at the entrepreneurs who are doing our community and recognize them for the good that they're doing. And so I think we as a community have to make that paradigm shift where we do value or start to value and appreciate the men and women in our community who are building business, large billion-dollar type enterprises.
Mm-hmm. And one last question for you, and I know that you get this question all the time. What was the one step in your life that you can remember that said, you know what, I'm just going to have to live with the fact that I'm different?
Well, I was blessed. I had a mother and father who made it very clear to me that I was special, that I was a child of God, and that because I was a child of God and a child of the King, that made me royalty, and therefore there was nothing this earth could do to stop me from achieving purpose. And when I made that paradigm shift, when I realized and internalized that reality, then there was nothing that could stop me. And everything I put my mind to do, I'm able to do by God's grace because of that relationship that I had with God. And so I think there's power in that all of us have if we choose to use it.
Robert Wallace, who is chairman of the board and chief executive officer of numerous entrepreneurial endeavors out of Baltimore City, Baltimore, Maryland. That is, he is the president, CEO, founder of Bith Group Technologies. He's the CEO, founder of Bith Energy Incorporated, founder of Entree Teach Learning Systems, an affiliate professor of business at Loyola University. The accolades go on, but there is one accolade that will be added this weekend, and that he is a trailblazer. He will be receiving the Black Republican Trailblazer Award at the weekend coming up at the JW Marriott downtown. It will be awarded by Black Americans for a Better Future. And I just want to say to you, Mr. Wallace, thank you for being a shoulder on which I stand. And thank you so much for the work that you have done to change America.
Thank you, Ken, and God bless you for what you do.
Thank you, sir. God bless you. What a great joy it has been talking with that man. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you probably want to tune in to CNN and MSNBC and because they want to tell you everything that's going wrong in the world, but it is so good to be on a network that proclaims that which is going good and going right in the world. And what an extreme honor it is to be able to talk with a Robert Wallace, who's the CEO of Bith Group Technologies in Baltimore, Maryland. A man with billion-dollar ideas, a man who's involved in energy and technology and science, and who has been successful when others would have said no way, and is making a major investment in the inner city. He didn't run. He didn't go out to, way out in the boonies or to Silicon Nation, wherever it was in the world. He stayed right in Baltimore, and he is growing Baltimore, and he is part of that group of individuals who are reimagining the dream, that we have moved from an ideal of a civil rights structure to a economic liberation structure in our society, one that's built on entrepreneurialism and the pursuit of that particular dream of success. And what I am inspired most about the conversation with Mr. Wallace today is his great affinity, his love of God. To hear a superstar in the world of finance and economics come on the air early in the morning and tell you, I started with prayer this morning in Bible study. And I sit around with individuals and I try to counsel and advise that, in order, some of the words that he used, I want you to understand, if you go back and you listen to the interview, paradigm shift. Part of the issue and concern that we have in urban America is not what the government can do for us, but what we can do for ourselves. And it requires a paradigm shift of thought. It requires us to really begin thinking to ourselves, there is more out there for me than anyone else can give me. I have to earn that. I have to build that. And I have to establish that on the foundation of what has been built before me. And what has been built? It was laid by God. The very foundations upon which you will build your success. When you listen to this man, and let's just be honest. If I listen to programs all day long, I never get a chance to see a Robert Wallace on the program. Maybe if I turn to Fox, but generally not. So it is a welcome. It is a benevolence to us this morning to have had an opportunity to talk with such a pioneering genius as Robert Wallace. And I look forward to his return back on our program. We talked about urban economic development. We talked about entrepreneurship. He was coaching throughout this particular process of this interview. And I'm telling you, this is what you're going to be able to get when you come to the VIP reception tomorrow, Saturday, at 6 p.m. The VIP, you get to, one of the terms he used during the conversation was network. How often do we go somewhere, we don't take any business cards with us or whatever, and we stand on the side and we say, I didn't get anything out of coming to this particular event. I don't even know why I came here. Networking. To be able to touch the hand, to talk with, to question, to inquire, to encourage, to inspire, all in that one setting. And this is why I love this event. And I'll be working with Raynard Jackson in the coming years to even expand upon it. the 5th Annual Black Republican Trailblazer Awards luncheon because it reminds me a lot of Freedom Fest. It really does. To have these great material witnesses of success in the world present, where you can actually, there's no courting off of this individual. Someone going into the underground of the hotel and getting out after they've given their speech. These individuals here, Gerald Boyd Sr., who's president of DB Consulting, Maxine Blake, who's an Ohio civil rights icon. I mean, she blew up my radio network coming on. Alan Inman, who we spoke with this morning about fatherhood, who is the president of Global Peace Foundation. Robert Wallace, who is the CEO of Bith Group Technologies, and we've just been talking about capital and economics and why that conversation needs to be had in our community. Ladies and gentlemen, Richard Finley will be up with us in the next hour. And quite frankly, these are the type of people that you're going to hear on the Exceptional Conservative Network. If you haven't made a commitment, I'm asking that you make a commitment today, not of money, but of time and the resource of your listening and spreading the word. Let everyone know that the Exceptional Conservative Network exists. You can come to the exceptionalconservativeshow.com and you can listen to some of the greatest guests in the world, whether it be a Pete Sepp, whether it be a Robert Wallace, some of the great guests, Mark Skousen we had earlier this month, and so many others, Dr. Bill Ward. I could go on and I would be an embarrassment because I'll miss somebody and then they will be offended, but we have so many great guests that come on this program. And the key thing is that we keep it alive and we keep it fresh for you. Whether it's the Drive Time morning program with Shannon and Mike from 7 to 9 p.m., whether it's Willie Lawson at 9 p.m. In the morning from 9 to 10. And on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, you have Melanie Collette, Money Talk with Melanie. And then in the afternoon drive time, you have Ralph and Lonnie, who are the right guys, from 4 to 6 p.m. And then at night, I close off the deal with the exceptionalconservativeshow.com, the Exceptional Conservative Show, and as well, New Day Black and Red, which we had a wonderful program yesterday with Dave Milner on. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just letting you know there are a great many opportunities for us to be successful together. Put your advertisements on our program. Listen to our great guests and our great hosts. Take it with you by downloading the Spreaker app so that you can take it with you wherever you go. Star it, bookmark it, so that you'll be able to come to it at the exceptionalconservativeshow.com. Your support makes us great. And the greater we are, the greater you will be. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with more of the best in urban conservative talk on a very special, the Exceptional Conservative Show, with the Black Republican Trailblazers that will be awarded this weekend by the Black Americans for a Better Future. We will be right back.
The bloviating Zeppelin. He's big-footed enough radio shows to last a lifetime, courtesy of Sean, Clint, Ken, and Jersey Joe. Now it's time for him to waddle on his own 2 feet via the glorious SHR Media. Gird thy loins for the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, coming soon to ossicles near you. Excelsior.
Meet Jason. He was really excited to start growing his business with social media until he realized how complex and time-consuming social media can be. It's difficult to manage multiple social networks and accounts. It's hard to monitor what's happening on social media, follow discussions, and engage with new followers. It's time-consuming to publish updates throughout the day, track and analyze how effective posts are, respond to fans and followers in a timely manner, and gain new customers. The list seems to go on and on. Jason quickly becomes discouraged. How could he ever do all of this and still run a business? He was ready to give up on social media until he found eClincher, the easiest way to manage social media. Jason was amazed how straightforward and simple it is to use eClincher. With eClincher, Jason is now able to leverage the power of social media without having to dedicate several hours a day. He can easily organize all his social media accounts in one place, efficiently plan and schedule his posts ahead of time, engage with his followers, understand the effectiveness of his efforts with powerful analytics, find new customers, and much more. In order to tell your business's story, simplify the process of managing your social media, and analyze results, sign up with eClincher today.
With home values up and interest rates near all-time lows, you probably know that now is a great time to refinance, like the Johnsons, who saved $436 a month.
$436 a month?
It's simple. Just go to LendingTree.com, compare loan offers for free, and see how much you could save in just 5 minutes.
Oh, you said the bank gave you the best rate.
Yeah.
Lending Tree. When banks compete, you win.
I have to do everything myself.
Someone is sleeping on the couch tonight.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
Now, Brownells, we know you may have only one shot to harvest that trophy, so we have thousands of accessories and replacement parts to improve your chances. We know how much you love to shoot, so our gunsmiths articles and videos will help you do more and get more out of your guns. We also value your hard work and money. That's why only Brownells backs up everything we sell with a 100% unconditional lifetime guarantee. Brownells, the world's largest supplier of firearm accessories and gunsmithing tools.
Good evening. I made a mistake. It's not evening, America. It is actually very early morning for me. It is the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. We are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, what is the power of liberation. What a wonderful morning this has been for me. I'm telling you, I'm just about as ecstatic as I can possibly get. Ladies and gentlemen, to have Alan Inman on a program. You all know my program is normally about 2 hours in the evening, Monday through Thursday. And we have wonderful guests on. Like on Monday, we will have the lovely, where's that at? Okay, thank you very much. Leslie Ann Stoffel on the air with us at 9:10 p.m. We'll be talking about the influx political correctness in Canada and the threat of Sharia law there with her directly. And we'll also be working on getting another guest for that particular program. But we have tremendous, wonderful guests on our programs. But to have a Robert Wallace and an Alan Inman come on our program today, it's just absolutely splendiferous, if I could use a term or a phrase. And people are sending out messages throughout the course of the show. That's why you hear the because people are excited to hear such great men and women on our programs. It's not too late for you to attend. If you didn't know that, I want you to know it now. It's not too late for you to attend. You can get in contact with Raynard Jackson at 202-251-3424, 202-251-3424 to attend a weekend of recognition for Black Republicans. Black Americans for a Better Future is holding the event at JW Marriott Hotel. That is located at 1331 Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest. And if anybody, everyone who's been to Washington understands, JW Marriott is about 2 blocks over from the White House. Okay? So if you're coming to town, you might as well tour the place and enjoy yourself during the course of the day on Saturday. But on Saturday evening at 6 p.m., Saturday evening, there will be a VIP reception. And on Sunday, at 12 noon, there will be a luncheon, an actual luncheon, and 5 people will be honored. Gerald Boyd Sr., who is president of DB Consulting, Maxine Blake, who is an Ohio civil rights icon. Actually, Maxine Blake received an honor on the House floor of the Ohio Assembly a couple of weeks ago in acknowledgement of her being honored at the Trailblazers event this weekend. Alan Inman, who is president of Global Peace Foundation, was on earlier today. I just enjoy his presence and his wisdom. He's being honored. Robert Wallace is also being honored tomorrow and Sunday. And I look forward to meeting him personally and talking with him. I'm looking forward to meeting and greeting each and every one of these. And this goes back to what I was saying before. When you go to events like this, bring your business cards, network, get to know these individuals, because it is your connectivity to these individuals. Touching the past gives you an opportunity to touch the future. And literally, you can take the information. I can take the information just from that interview with Robert Wallace or Alan Inman and create so much from it, because they are great inspirations to us all. Both men are not ashamed to tell you that they have a great love for God. Just like I tell you straight up that this is a program that's geared towards the liberation of the Republican first and then the socialist second. But I get that out of Romans chapter 1, that particular reference of Scripture. Literally, it is that relationship with God that will profoundly separate you from the chains of poverty and entitlement and ignorance, and make you so driven that you're willing to take risks that ordinary men would not in order to get extraordinary gain. And so each and every one of those people that's being honored has done just that. And at the end of the next interview that I have coming up, Richard Finley will be joining us in a few. And trust me, I'm leaping like a little 12th grader who's just received a Christmas gift. You know what I'm saying? I am ecstatic by being able to talk with these individuals. Richard Finley happens to be the chief operating officer of Finley Group Incorporated down in Birmingham, Alabama. And quite frankly, the program management and consulting firm was founded back in 1976. And its principal office being in Birmingham, Alabama. It's certified by Alabama DOT, Alabama Department of Transportation, also Small Business Administration, and Birmingham Airport Authority as a small minority business enterprise. The firm comprises a team of highly qualified professionals with global knowledge and expertise in the areas of project development, product design, business management, accounting, research and development, statistical analysis, banking, and marketing. If you want something done right, this is the man that you want to contact. Now, he's a 28-year member of the Alabama Republican Party. He serves as a member of the state party's steering committee and as founder and chairman of the Alabama Republican Council, which is the advocacy group for African Americans within the state party itself. So, well-educated, well-accomplished man. Will be joining us in just the next moment. But this is the type of program that comes on the Exceptional Conservative Network. Don't be shaken, don't be stirred. We get some very good folk on our program on a reg. So make sure that you bookmark TECN. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I want to introduce to some and present to others one of Alabama's superstars of business and politics, Finley Group President Richard H. Finley. Good evening. Forgive me. Good morning, Mr. Finley. I've gone through the entire clock.
Well, good morning.
It's a great honor and privilege to have you on the air with us this particular day. And you are going to be given the accolade of a Black Republican trailblazer this weekend by the membership of Black Americans for a Better Future at the JW Marriott in downtown Washington, D.C. I want to ask you in this regard, did you ever expect that this kind of award would come your way, and what were your thoughts when you found out that it was coming?
Well, no, I never thought that, we'd get any recognition for, the work we've done in Alabama as part of the Black Republican Council or the Black Republican membership in the state party. And when I got the call, quite frankly, it was sort of disbelief.
Well,
but anyway, I'm thankful for the honor.
Well, it is a well-deserved honor. You have been a true trailblazer for the Republican Party, and let's just be honest. While Alabama is about as red as the clay upon which it is formed, Birmingham ain't. So I just it's amazing your persistence, your persevering. And I want to talk with you about that. At a time period when others would have easily just hidden on by the wayside and said, you know what, I'm a great businessman, but I'll make a couple of donations here and there, but I'm not going to get involved with the Republican Party. Why did you, a man of color, get involved with the Republican Party?
Well, in the South, our history is sort of buried, but a major portion of the slave population of the United States was in the southern states. The Africans who were enslaved there made up the economy for the southern part of the United States. And my grandfather, who was a minister, was a follower or believer in Booker T. Washington, and they all were thankful to the North and Mr. Lincoln for the emancipation.
Yeah.
And they followed the teachings and traditions of Booker T. Washington all the way up into the 1960s. We were all believers in free people and free enterprise, and Birmingham had a large, thriving Black business community, and all of the Black entrepreneurs and Black professionals were members of an organization called the Republican Club.
Mm-hmm.
Now, once I graduated and moved to New York, and from there to Atlanta, and made my way back to Birmingham, when I arrived, I realized that all of the folk that I had been marching with and fighting with had all of a sudden joined the enemy. I couldn't figure out, how is it that y'all hugging George Wallace when that he was having folks killed and lynched when I was growing up here. Mm-hmm. And I went on to register, and when the first opportunity came for me to vote in the state of Alabama in the 1970s into the early 1980s, if you voted in the Democratic election, you voted under the white rooster banner. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a donkey, it was a white rooster. And about Southern history, the white rooster was a symbol of the white supremacist party.
Yes.
And I went talked to some of the newly elected Black Democrats, and I said, how in the hell can you walk into a voting booth and pull a lever of white supremacy?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody had an answer. It didn't make any sense. The whole process of Black folks joining the Democratic Party in the South didn't make any sense, because these were the yellow dogs that we've been fighting all the time. So after I could get no logic out of it,
mm-hmm.
anybody, I said, well, I simply cannot participate. I cannot vote under the white rooster banner. And at the time, the Republican Party was almost non-existent. They used to phone booth. And, and so I went and talked with some of the folks that I knew who were part of the Abraham Lincoln Club, and we sat down and met with those few whites who were, involved in the Republican Party, most of which were, wealthy industrialists, but they were the minority. They generally kept quiet on the politics because George Wallace was a populist, and so the folk who knew better, who were in business, just sort of stayed out of the way. But anyway, we got involved. We started to build the Alabama Republican Council during the first few months of Gerald Ford's administration. And within the first few months of establishing the Alabama Republican Council, we had over 500 members, black people who paid $25 to join across the state of Alabama.
Wow.
And that, sort of set off a firestorm among black Democrats. And you're right, it's been absolutely hell just, trying to exercise my right and my freedom to associate with the party or organization that I choose.
Yeah, and I don't.
Democrats were very vicious.
Exactly, and Mr. Finley, I don't want to draw any special privilege to you in terms of being a trailblazer, but I want to say this to you: of all of the trailblazers, you have suffered the greatest, probably, in my opinion. And I know I've had a great conversation with Alan Inman earlier today, but you're in Birmingham, Alabama. And quite frankly, you have white Democrats who are fiercely opposed to you. And on top of that, when you think that you can go home and put your feet up and relax because your family will be there to back you up, they're going alongside the white Democrat who's opposed to you. There is no peace for you. You have been fighting a hard battle for 30 years. Or more as a black Republican. And I'm honored just to have this conversation with you today because while some of us in the North talk about, well, they talked about me, they called me Uncle Tom, they called me this, they called me that. You, my friend, have had to construct a party out of nothing, and it has been truly successful. Where do you get your verve? Where do you get your perseverance? Where do you get your strength, sir, to do this?
Well, I didn't know it took all of that, but it just struck me when I saw the violent reaction, the meanness, the hatred that I saw in the eyes of my fellow blacks, and the whites were the whites didn't know quite what to think, but the black people were seriously angry. And I sat down and talked with Richard Arrington, who was the first black mayor, and he was a friend of mine.
Yes.
And I started out, I wrote up his economic platform for what he was going to do as the first black mayor, and he told me that all of the folk who were voting for him couldn't understand why he was working with me. And he was having to distance himself from me. And I said, well, what is the problem? What are they afraid of? What brings about all of this? And what I found was that, they have been charged with the responsibility of keeping black folks in line.
Yeah.
And if you had one who stood individually or stood, for anything other than what they had told black folks what you stand for, then that was a threat to the entire thing. And when I realized that, these people were deadly serious. I mean, I get all kind of telephone threats, and it was difficult for my family. I mean,
Exactly.
So when I realized it was done, and I realized that that there has to be something here, and these people are reacting, in this manner. And I would tell her, and I said, well, you can't view me as a threat. Why is it that this fear, this animosity exists? And I began to realize that these people who were running for public office and who were being elected, these new black folks, their charge was to demonstrate complete control of the black community.
Wow.
And I guess I and the other blacks who, publicly affiliated with the Republican Party was of them that they don't control of everybody within the black community. And while I was taking a lot of heat, as I moved about the city of Birmingham doing what I was doing, and largely I was just running my business.
Yeah, exactly.
Older black men in the community pulled me to the side and opened up their wallet and put out their RNC card and put it back in. And they said, well, don't tell nobody. Yeah. But, I've always been Republican. And I said, well, I know that when that all of the black professional people were part of the Abraham Lincoln Republican Club. I knew that when I was growing up in Birmingham, Dr. A.G. Gaston, who was also a follower of Booker T. Washington, named all of his businesses that were not named Gaston were named Booker T. Washington. And he had a black enterprise called him the Black Titan. He had a multi-million-dollar company.
Wow.
And hundreds of black people employed. And we had several restaurants and theaters and one thing that you look around now that's missing, we have black people who became wealthy owning service stations.
Exactly.
In Birmingham today, you can't find one black-owned service station or convenience, for that matter, within the black community. So with this political power that blacks were getting in the Democratic Party, we were losing economic strength every day. And so that was part of my motivation to hold on and fight, was that, we have to have some kind of economic base. If we don't have an economic base, then we can't promote ourselves in any fashion. And the Democrats were coming in and arrogant, switched to not the numbers at City Hall to working at City Hall. I told him, I said, well, jobs for folks with, in slavery, we didn't have an unemployment problem. Everybody had a job. What we don't have is an expanding economic base. I think Dr. Claude Anderson said that coming out of slavery, newly freed Africans, captured or created wealth to the tune of 2 to 3% from national wealth. And today we have less than of the total national wealth with all of the so-called education that we've gotten. So I think that this effort by the Democrat Party to control the economic growth and the mental development, quite frankly, of blacks across the board has been very successful. And
exactly.
You can see the fear and the resentment, within the larger black community of any black person who stands up and says, well, now I'm a Republican and here's why I'm a Republican. And most of us have to have given it a great deal of thought and have found a foundation that we can stand on and believe that if we can create the economic wealth that will allow our children to carry forward, we can't will our children a government job.
Exactly.
We can't leave them our business.
Exactly. We're talking today with I'm just overwhelmed with the opportunities I've had today to talk with Richard Finley, who is the president of the Finley Group, a pioneer for the Republican cause in Alabama, and just a steadfast businessman who has opened up so many opportunities for so many as a small minority business enterprise. But the truth of the matter, and what you speak, is unfortunately we didn't learn anything from the shutdown in Birmingham of Greyhound and the buses, and during the civil rights movement, we began to listen to those on the left that said that everything is about civil rights, when in all actuality, like Barry Goldwater said to Martin Luther King, you're going to have to do this yourself. It's an economic thing. Our real answer today has to be an economic one, and there's a political party out there that doesn't believe in economic liberation for Black America. Am I correct on that?
Correct. Now, you look at, and I can only speak for the city of Birmingham, but right now, in the city of Birmingham, Black wealth has dropped 90%.
Wow.
Since first elected our first Black mayor, and his closing speech going out the door, he said we Black folk are worse off, after him being in office for 20 years than they were when he came into office. And all of that was, Black folks focusing on government. And once they did that, they abandoned our economic base. And Birmingham is, it's in a competition with Chicago to see how many Black people can kill each other. And we have totally lost direction. And when you look at a city that spends $500 million a year, when you look at a city where Black folks, a majority of from all of the public entities that collect and spend tax revenue, and very little, if any of that, finds its way into the Black community. The educated, government-employed Blacks in the Birmingham area are all left the city for the suburbs. They abandon billions of dollars in infrastructure to go out and live in areas with strip malls and residential areas, but nobody saw the value in maintaining and holding on to the city of Birmingham. Just as they're doing all over the country now. You go in, and the urban millennials are coming in. They're taking all of the tax credits for historic sites. They're getting all kind of public money assistance, and they are gentrifying Birmingham again. And the Blacks in political power gladly go out and cut the ribbons and take pictures and never give a thought to the fact that this could have been a bustling, growing Black community, and we could have invited international involvement if we just had to have white people involved. But it was always just amazing to me that we would walk away from the infrastructure that would allow us to create the wealth necessary for our communities to prosper, for our children to have a base of wealth to build upon. And yet, as we kept electing these Blacks to public office, they supervise the Black economic base within our community. You go to Birmingham now, you can't find anything with A.G. Gass's name on it, other than a funeral home, I think.
Exactly.
And, and so we've embraced a culture of death for the inner city community. Those young Blacks among us who didn't have an opportunity to go to the color school went into the integrated schools, and they abandoned, their heritage and their history, and they're sort of, they melted into the suburbs. I guess it become non-descriptive.
Exactly, and Mr. Finley, there are so many people who said that if you just get a college degree, you will be better off. Yet, Alabama, in its red clay, has been one of the greatest producers of food in the free world, and agriculture has been spurned by those who many people would say are quite uppity right now, and only feel that they can work in a building with air conditioning. Uh, you know, a farmer of a simple plot of land literally can make $80,000 a year, and thus, when you compare that to what you get on welfare, 40,000, you get twice as much if you put a little labor or heart into it. I want to ask you: is there hope in Birmingham for individuals to get out of the mindset of dependency on government and get into because on an acre, in your backyard, you can create enough wealth where you don't have to be dependent on federal or state funds to survive.
I would like to respond and say there is hope.
Thank you.
But before I left, coming up here, I was invited to take a tour of a facility called the Brother Bryant Mission in downtown Birmingham. Brother Bryant is one of those places that will take in homeless people or street people, feed them, and try to renew this here in some sort of Christian fashion. As I drive through downtown Birmingham, in the city park across from City Hall, throughout the main areas, there are certain times of day when the Christian will pull up with their trucks, or with the Brother Bryant Mission or the Fire Hall. They have feeding times. And you drive through there, and there's just lines of black men, occasionally some black women, but mostly black men standing in line to be fed. And when they pull up with the truck at the park, from all areas of the park, just the black men and the pigeons all coming to be fed. And you look at this and you see, how did we get here? And how is it that we control City Hall? How is it that we control the school board? We've got all of these resources. It's not a matter of the government not having enough money, but the people that we put in charge clearly are blind to what's going on out there.
Yeah.
Every day that these black men have simply given up. Don't understand that if you put in the labor, you can enjoy the product or the produce of that labor. That's not being taught any longer. We took control of the school system and failed to educate our people because we bought into the liberal concepts that the Democrats were pushing, and walked away from our foundation in Booker T. Washington.
Exactly.
And Washington was simply saying, as you just said, that, if you work the land will provide for you. The restaurants in downtown Birmingham will pay you $45, $50 for a basket of tomatoes.
Exactly.
You could grow on your back porch.
Exactly. You can put
2-3 bushels of tomatoes.
Listen, my parents.
There ain't no concept.
Exactly. My parents are from West Point, Mississippi. Okay, so and I've been to Birmingham. I I know the South, and I know that people have been trained up under the Democrat ideology that you are a better person if you go to college and give up on that trying to secure and sustain yourself on the land. Let us take the land and we'll use it for our purposes, and you can pick up the food at the Safeway or whatever, or the Kroger's. But yes, sir.
College, like going to college. I was here in D.C. for a hearing, and Congressman Scott was asking for $1 million a year for the land grant, black colleges. And as they presented their case to Congress, they all said that over 90% can't afford to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
They're there on some sort of government assistance. And when they graduate, they apparently haven't learned enough to be able to contribute back to the school to make it independent.
Thank you.
So
you bring up a great.
We're in a cycle.
Mr. Finley, you bring up a great point regarding historically black colleges and universities that are demanding, and they're talking about coalescing groups of blacks to march on Washington for historically black colleges and university. But I don't hear Harvard University asking people to do that, or Yale University, or Dartmouth. They're not asking that. They got endowments that came from their people who did successfully well after they left the college. Whatever happened to personal responsibility, even from the college standpoint?
Well, the model that they've been given, through the left has been a disastrous model. When I get a chance to speak to them in Alabama, I have to, not remind them, but to inform them that when Booker T. Washington ran Tuskegee was the largest producer and seller of building materials in the Southeast.
Wow.
Tuskegee had the largest sawmill in, I'm pretty sure, the entire Southeast, but I know in Alabama. You've heard the story that Booker T. Washington built the buildings on the campus there because they made the bricks.
Mm-hmm.
They owned and operated the sawmill, and everything that they didn't use, they sold.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Booker T. Washington, before his untimely death, was about to create the Tuskegee Industrial Complex. He had already set up the National Negro Business League that was going to be the distribution for the products produced at the Tuskegee Industrial Complex.
Wow.
As I and several others believe. Now, and nobody will entertain the fact that he was assassinated. But if you study Booker T. Washington and what he was doing at Tuskegee, the blacks who came there to study engineering, to study architecture, to study agriculture, actually worked at the top of their education. They had physical work on the farms, the sawmills, the brick producing factories. They did all of this stuff, and they took classes, and they were instructed, in sort of an on-the-job manner. And Tuskegee produced some of the best engineers and architects, the country has had. But with Dr. Carver there producing the products that he was producing, Booker T. Washington's plan was to develop this industrial complex. He had set up this distribution network across the country, and you can check the history on the National Negro Business League and all of these places where he would go set up these organizations, see the products that they were going to produce in Tuskegee. Had he not been assassinated, the picture of America would have been completely different. But the establishment has spent a lot of time misdirecting and miseducating black folks away from an economic base. We live in a capitalistic society, and we practice socialism. And we teach.
Exactly. That is the best and most well said way of saying that. Ladies and gentlemen, we gotta go to a quick break. When we come back from the break, more of Richard Finley and his sage wisdom which is so missing from urban America, as one of the great trailblazers to be honored this weekend at the JW Marriott by, of course, Renard Jackson and Black Americans for a Better Future at the 5th Annual Black Republican Trailblazer Awards luncheon this weekend with the theme Reimagining the Dream. Richard Finley, who is the COO of Finley Group Incorporated from Birmingham, Alabama, will be one of the honorees. When we come back from the break, we'll be talking with him in greater detail of the hope and aspirations for a better nation in spite of the pursuits of 90% of Black Americans in this country. We'll be right back with more of the best in Urban Conservative Talk right after these messages.
It's a love story like no other. From God's heart to yours. And for 30 years, it's been at the heart of every book, Bible, CD, gift, and resource from ChristianBook.com. Over 500,000 products, always at the very best value. ChristianBook.com. Everything Christian, because it's our story too.
Now, Brownells, we know you may have only one shot to harvest that trophy, so we have thousands of accessories and replacement parts to improve your chances. We know how much you love to shoot, so our gunsmiths articles and videos will help you do more and get more out of your guns. We also value your hard work and money. That's why only Brownells backs up everything we sell with a 100% unconditional lifetime guarantee. Brownells, the world's largest supplier of firearm accessories and gunsmithing tools.
Hi, my name is Willie Lawson of The Willie Lawson Show here on the Exceptional Conservative Network, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. They told me that I needed to be humble, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. So I decided to be awesome instead. That's The Willie Lawson Show, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. here on the Exceptional Conservative Network.
Hey, it's Jersey Joe from the Reaver, Common Sense. You can catch me every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on shrmedia.com. That's every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, shrmedia.com.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, TECN Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk. TECN Sean and TECN Clint. And we're working on the integration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best late night conservative talk, TECN Radio. The best late night conservative talk show in America. In America. In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
Good morning.
I'm Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Okay, folks, that's not how it goes. I think I'm Shannon, and
I think
you're
so.
Michael.
Yeah.
Okay. We are The Right Way with Shannon and Mike.
Join us from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern Time.
Live on SHR Media.
And on TECN.
Where we'll be talking about all kinds of things.
From sports and politics.
To food and entertainment.
To money.
Family.
And anything else in between.
Community, holidays, all kinds of things.
It'll be great. Join us from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern Time.
Hi, it's your business diva here, Melanie Collette of Money Talk with Melanie on the Exceptional Conservative Network. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m., we talk all things money on a global, domestic, and household scale that affects you and your wallet. You don't want to miss it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached that point of our program where there are no more commercials. It's just you and me one-on-one, and today is actually two-on-one. You are listening live to the Exceptional Conservative Show, a morning special it is, as we honor awardees of the 5th annual Black American Trailblazer Awards this weekend at the JW Marriott. No, it's not too late. It's at 1331 Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest. It's not too late if you wish to attend. You can get in contact with Raynard Jackson at 202-251-3424, 202-251-3424. Yours truly will be present. The TECN family will be there. We have given away 30 tickets for this event. It is going to be filled, so do your best right now to get in contact with them. I'll be having lunch with him later on today. So I'm just going to let you all know, I don't have any more tickets. Don't ask me. I don't. I don't. I really don't. I'm not trying to hold any. I just don't have any more tickets. It's going to be a filled-up event. Raynard Jackson, get in contact with him, 202-251-3424. And Richard Finley is with us. He is the COO of Finley Group Incorporated. We've been talking about his trial, his tribulation, and the great joy of being honored for all of the hard work that made not only Alabama red, but our nation red as well, with the hope and aspirations of conservatism, capitalism, constitutionalism, and of course Christ. Mr. Finley, in listening to you and the hard work that you went through, so that you're just now being observed for this, but what you did to change Alabama is just simply immense. Is it what you expected of your life? Did you really expect at this point in your life you would be the one guy as chairman of the Alabama Republican Council who is fed it with the responsibility of turning Birmingham around?
Well, I don't know that, we can turn Birmingham around, but I do want to say that over the years, there have been a lot of us in Alabama, a lot of blacks across the state of Alabama, and quite frankly, Georgia and Mississippi as strong groups of black entrepreneurs who have stood their ground.
Yeah.
A lot of us, are getting older now, but I have a friend who just recently passed, Douglas Moore, who was one of the smartest guys that I've known, but always was a country boy from Montgomery, and was very eloquent in his defense of to appreciate the land and being productive from the land.
Mm-hmm.
And we have we just found it our responsibility to try to communicate, because in the school system now, our children are being taught history, and it starts with 1963.
Wow.
And that history is being altered. I take nothing away from Dr. King. I was in Birmingham, just a student in the marches and the pump, and I take nothing away from that. But the journey of the African here in America, you cannot dismiss the life and times of Frederick Douglass and his writings.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go through our history that's being thrown away, I often ask young people, I said, have you read Carter G. Woodson's The Miseducation of the Negro?
Exactly.
Well, no, they haven't read it. And
Mm-hmm.
when, tell us, and I went to the colored schools in Alabama, and the teachers made sure that we knew our history across the board. We knew not only the writers and the philosophers, but the industrialists and the activists, all. And I look at what happened to a lot of our folk in the South, the integration. All of that was abandoned. The black schools were closed, and we had to send our children to the white schools. And the children who went through, those phases of integration were severely damaged in that process. And when you go back and try to evaluate it, then people that, our thing was, we didn't necessarily have a problem with separate and equal. The problem was it was just never equal.
Exactly. Exactly.
And we wanted our tax dollars to come into our side for our children. But even in Alabama, where we got the textbooks after the white children had mutilated them, we were able to produce medical doctors, we were able to produce scientists, we were able to produce lawyers. And if you saw the movie Hidden Figures, you realize that we had a parallel intellectual community going because during that time, school teacher was one of the most respected and elevated jobs within the black community.
Exactly.
Now, and I don't want to disparage anybody, but now the people who will teach for $30,000-$40,000 a year are not the same caliber as the folks that were teaching when I was in school.
Exactly.
The corporate community will absorb all of those people, but and I tell people, I said, well, we had guys who had masters and women who had masters and PhDs who the state of Alabama would pay the university the Michigan and Pittsburgh and so forth to educate blacks because they wouldn't allow them to go to the University of Alabama. But a lot of those who came back to Alabama had much better educations than the whites that were there. So we were able to produce competitive black students within the community. We simply wanted a fair distribution of the tax dollars. We certainly didn't want to close down our schools and institutions and have our society destroyed. Because if you look at it when they integrated, we had a thriving black society and social life. And, when they integrated, the guy who was the captain of the football team at my high school, he couldn't be the captain of the football team at the white school.
Yeah.
The girls who were the cheerleaders and the girls who were part of the National Honor Society and all of these things that we had that we were proud of that promoted our students were basically destroyed. And we're still having to let in what I call the miseducation that has led us to abandon, our entire economic base.
Exactly.
In Birmingham, and I'm pretty sure in most of the places across the state, black people buy everything from white people. White people buy nothing from black people. Now, if you understand, the questions of the day about the trade imbalances and so forth,
exactly.
You know that we can't sustain as a people if everything is going out.
Exactly.
And nothing is coming in.
Exactly.
But we can have these, with our black elected, Democrat leadership. When I talked to the historically black colleges again, I said, who is gathering, the social and economic data on the black community that will allow us to make economic decisions, will allow us to make decisions about where we want to invest our dollars, what we need to do for our children in terms of education. We don't have that data. The Urban League will come out and, you know, depress you every year with
with the cherry picked stats. Yeah.
So, you know, but we've got to, the institutions that we still control have got to understand that, you know, we have to be representatives as a group. You know, you have to, I don't have any problem with that, but your first thought should be about self-preservation.
Exactly.
And our institutions are not designed to teach our people to preserve our heritage and our lifestyle through developing an economic base that will allow us to contribute across the board. If you come to the table as a contributor, you are respected worldwide.
Exactly. That's what's really missing.
If you come every time with your hand out, you know, pretty soon, you know, even with your family don't want to see you come in.
Exactly.
You come in begging.
Them doors get shut, them blinds close quickly. Oh, here he come again.
And that's what's happening with us across
exactly
here in this country. You know, we're always asking somebody for something, and we're never contributing. And you know, I get a lot of heat.
No.
Because I tell, you know, before I was anything else, I was black, and I said I had a black mom, but before I, you know, became politically active involved, I was black. When I worked within the Republican Party, you know, I would. So when I come to the day, I'm talking about the issues within my community that need to be addressed, and part of that was that be able to strengthen our economic base. We started a group within our group called the Washington Douglas Economic Forum.
Wow.
And we would travel the state and advise people of the, you know, the resources that they were surrounded by, and let's figure out how you exploit that. You know, we used to have millions of acres of land.
Yeah.
But, you know, our generations that, you know, went off to the other schools decided that they didn't want to do anything, as you said earlier, associated with work.
Exactly.
And everybody wanted the title.
Exactly. Everybody
wanted to work.
Everybody wants to wear the double-breasted suit and get paid very well and actually not do any work. Listen, Mr. Finley, because we're coming towards the close here, and I got like a ton of questions I want to ask you. So I'm looking forward to meeting you tomorrow at the VIP reception where individuals can actually just touch history, can talk with history and get the real answers. Like a lot of Americans did not know about the White Rooster Party. I'm just learning that today, and I just personally want to thank you, Mr. Finley, for the hard knocks that you took. In spite of being a successful businessman, a great family man, and a great Republican, that you were willing to stand strong so that others would be able to stand upon your shoulders. And I'm one of those people that's standing on your shoulders today. And I so look forward to talking with you tomorrow at the 5th Annual Trailblazers Award, Black Trailblazers Award in Washington, D.C.
Well, thank you very much. I certainly enjoyed it, and I look forward to meeting you.
Awesome. I look forward to it as well. Thank you so much. That is Richard Finley of the Finley Group. I mean, I could sit here for another 6 hours roasting him with questions, and I would be just holding a conversation. Literally, it has been such a grand joy and a pleasure to actually put this together today. I know that we have Money Talk with Melanie coming up, and I will dash away in short order to try to help her with her radio program today. But I want you all to know something. Richard Finley made a point that was very plain about African Americans turning their backs on other African Americans because of their ideological beliefs. That it has virtually been detrimental to say a thing for individuals to come out and state that the whole concept of being Republican is worthy of tar and feathering in Black America. And for these men and women who we've listened to over the past 2 weeks, I want to speak briefly in the next 60 seconds about the real injury here. And I want y'all to pay attention because I might hurt some people's feelings, but that's okay. We should be big enough to pull up our jockey straps and run the rest of the race. I'm not concerned about the Black Democrats that turn their backs on us. I'm expecting that. That's why you have opposing views. I'm expecting them to turn their backs on us. What I find as ultimately degrading, destructive, and unwanted is how Black Republicans turn their backs on other Black Republicans. Now, listen, Ralph J. Chittums and I have our debates over the death penalty, but he's my friend. He's my family. We are Republicans and conservatives. Well, I'm a conservative who votes Republican. What I cannot stand is the number of African American Republicans that have turned their backs on Raynard Jackson because they believe party first is the answer, when party wasn't even the answer before we were first. I want to commend Raynard Jackson for how hard he's worked, how he's raised the money to do this. And I'm telling you, it's been a huge, huge problem trying to raise money for this event. But he's done it. Even with the GOP putting their foot on his neck. You see, it's trailblazers like that make me remember why being Black and Republican is not important. Being a trailblazer is someone who's willing to overcome the hard times so that we can celebrate the good. I hope that you enjoyed this very special, the Exceptional Conservative Show this morning. God bless you. God bless America. And if you don't remember anything else I said, remember, He lives and He is. We'll see you on Monday night. God bless you.